Okay, when I'm done at the end of this video, I'm going to show a tool that I made to more easily take off this serpentine belt. I'm going to be changing the serpentine belt on my 2014 Honda CR-V EX. It's a 4th generation CR-V. It's got the 2.4 liter 4-cylinder engine. And this is the, I'm going to put on a Gates belt. And it's the K070663. Now to do this, I bought this tool from Sears. It's a Craftsman 41831. And it comes with the long bar, comes with this shorter bar, and then it comes with these sockets and 3 crowfoot wrenches. Now it does come with a 14mm crowfoot, but it didn't come with a 14mm socket, and that's what I need. It came with an 18, 14, and 13 crowfoot, and then it came with a 19, 18, 16, 15, and 13 sockets. But I need a 14mm, so I'm just going to use my own 14mm. I'm also using this other tool that I've had for quite a while from Sears, and it's got this end on it that helps you maneuver and move the belt around when you're working for the serpentine belt, trying to move it around pulleys. So to give me more room, I'm going to remove this radiator overflow bottle right here, and it mounts real simple. You see that tab down there, you just pull it up, like that. There's the tab right there that it goes into. And then I'm just going to remove these pull it out of these clips so I can take it away and move it over out of the way. That will give me a little bit more room to see in here. Okay, so I printed off this diagram I found, and I labeled these other ones, but this is the crankshaft. This is your air compressor pump, oxygen pump, alternator, and this is the belt tensioner that you're going to be pulling back on. And my vehicle does not have power steering, so this is just a pulley they put up here, because I believe that's where power steering was in the past. It's electric now in my car. So the front of the engine is this way, so this is the front, obviously this is to the rear. Okay. So here is the tensioner arm right here that we want to get to loosen the belt. It's right here. Now, because of the limited space, you really can't use a socket and a ratchet wrench because you just don't have the space there. So this is the belt that was in there, and I'm approaching almost 55,000 miles. I mean, there's not a thing wrong with this belt. But I like to change them ahead of time, and then I'll keep a spare belt in the car. This belt is perfectly fine, not a thing wrong with it. Looks great, no checks. I mean, that's really good shape. Okay, so the belt's off here. Now when you look at this, you'll see that you have grooved belts and you have the smooth ones. Okay, So when you put the belt back on, all you got to do is make sure that you line up the teeth of the belt. They have to go on the belt with these grooves. If it's smooth, then the back side of the belt goes over this. So that's just one thing to remember when you're putting it on. If you've got the grooves of the belt on top of this, then it's not right. So by that I mean, if this belt were to go over a pulley, something like this, with the grooves, you know that's wrong. Okay, so you know you did it wrong. It'd have to go on like that, so that they're, and then vice versa for the smooth pulleys. Okay, so this is kind of hard to have a camera on it and do it at the same time, but what I did is I fished the belt down there, down through here, and using this long tool, which if you don't have something like this or a bar, or even you could rig something really just out of a 1/4 inch rod, 3/16, and then bend it. I got it on the AC pump pulley way down below, and then I don't know if you can see it back here, but I put it on the crankshaft pulley. Then I pulled the belt tight. Now you can see I'm moving it here. So then what I did is I just kind of moved it back and forth to make sure it was in those grooves of both those bottom pulleys. So these are the two I'm talking about, so that the cogs made it up on the pulley. Then I just pulled up on the top and kind of moved it back and forth to make sure it was seated down in the bottom. So something else I'm going to do here is that bracket that the overfill container is anchored to. I'm going to take that off. It's going to make it easier when I'm pulling the belts around. It's in a little bit in the way, but now that I'm putting it back on and having to route, so that's something that should probably come off right in the beginning. So what I did is I just took a short handled ratchet, 3/8 ratchet, with a 10mm socket on it and a 3-inch extension. Pulled the one bolt out, loosened the other one, and just rolled it back out of the way. This is going to allow me to get in here and move this belt over with that tool and bring it back around this other pulley underneath. And I was just trying to fight that. There's no need in that, so let's just move it off to the side. Okay, so what you'll see next then in my car is I've got everything around, and it's up around here, and I've got it underneath here, but I've got it off of this top one, so it's coming out around like this. So it's up here. So now what I have to do is pull back on the tensioner and feed the belt on this top pulley. So here you see everything's around. If I pull tight on this, okay, pull up, everything has been placed where it needs to go. But now what I need to do now is pull back on that tensioner right here where my forefinger is pointing at. Pull that back, and then fish this belt up around the top pulley here, and the job's completed. Okay, so I had a hell of a time with that tool that I bought. The problem is, with the old belt, you'll probably have a little bit of stretch in there, and it worked. Now I would modify that tool, and I could make it work. But so what I did is, I'm going to redo it to show you guys, is I just took a 14mm combination wrench. Okay, put that in here, and it's tighter than shit. I mean, it's snug. It's hard to pull back. So then I'm just going to use this big cheater bar pipe. Put that in here, pull back. And there it is. Now you got a little bit of play in this and the other. That's why it was a little harder, it kept slipping. But now it's on there. I couldn't get the pull back because it was hitting back on this, with that other bar. It would keep hitting on this framework and stuff and the light housing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make up a tool. Probably just take one of these combination wrenches, cut it off, and then have it come back on an angle, slight angle, back this way. So I've got a little more range of motion and weld a bar on here. So now I can pull it back, clear, you know, it'll be back enough this way, kick it back to where I'm clearing all this stuff. But I got it on. Certainly this was a kind of a, I would consider a pain in the ass. You're dealing in areas that are hard to see. You've got very little clearance to look at. It's not a hard job, just a pain in the ass job is what it is. Certainly not hard. But I've always had pickups, and all my pickups have been real easy. You could change those alongside the road. This, I really wouldn't want to do that. But, so anyways, the job's done. I don't know if any of you other guys have done this, what you guys have done, but this is what I come up with. So now I'm putting my bracket back on for the coolant reservoir tank. Now the coolant tank's back on, recovery tank. I'll just put the little holes back in these clips, and this job is done. So there it is. It was put on, and that should last a hell of a long time. In the meantime, I'm going to make up a tool, that modified tool that'll work a whole lot better and be a lot simpler. Now that I've done the job once, I know what's entailed. Okay, so I made up this tool. I bought a cheap 14mm combination wrench from Home Depot and cut the open end off. Then I had a buddy of mine weld this on to this 5/8 round stock. Now I did have to do multiple bends. I had to heat this with a acetylene torch and made multiple bends in the 5/8 stock. And I just eyed it up. I just looked at what I needed to do and just kind of bent it as I went along. Nothing too scientific. So now you just pull back. You can easily remove the belt fully. And with the belt off, which I'm not going to take it off now, and you let it forward, it misses everything. It doesn't hit any of the AC lines, and it also doesn't hit back here at the back of the vehicle. So I just cut it off. That's another thing I had to do, was cut it off, because it was longer, and so now I can let off and it doesn't hit anything here, no obstructions. The good thing too about the angle on that box head is that you can see that it kicks the wrench over enough to where you can get access then to moving that belt on and off. So that was the beauty of that, and that's why I just thought I would weld that on to that 5/8 bar stock. But that gives you plenty of clearance, and I just don't have any issues with it. That straight bar was not ideal for this application, but that was just a generic thing that I bought from Craftsman. I'll hang on to it, and it may work on another vehicle.